the other day on Mass Appeal. I'm gonna go off at the end about that because that's some bullshit, man. Bullshit going on. All right, let's rock. What's good? What's good? What's good? Y'all tune into the Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad up here in effect with me today. I got my brother DJ Rec One out there in Houston. Glad you good, bro. Glad you driving, checking in on this dude all week to make sure him and the fam good. What's going on out there, bro? What does it look like?
Hey, man, we drive, man. We safe, man. It's starting to get back to normal, so that's the good thing. You know, you're starting to see cars on the highway. Gas high as hell right now, but it's to be expected. But we safe, man. Everybody's good for the most part, man. Everybody's good, man. Appreciate everybody checking in. Phone calls, text messages.
I saw a post with a shark.
Because we close to the bayou. Everywhere there's a bayou. And then within those bayous, you got the Gulf. So those animals got to go somewhere, man.
Bruh, yo, I showed Nate that picture. She was like, Daddy, that's like Sharknado. I'm like, yeah, it's like Sharknado. I heard y'all got alligators and snakes, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I went outside to smoke a cigar, and that was the first thing I was looking for, man, was the alligators, because you don't know where they're coming from.
All right, no doubt. But like you said, just as long as you safe, bro.
Yeah, we safe, man.
I got my brother and Rhyme up here with me, Veg. What's going on, fam?
What's good, man? How are you?
Man. Everything is good. I got my brother Jace. What's good, fam?
Ain't nothing, brother. Peace, fellas. What's going on?
No doubt. Yo, I got my man from Twitter. We connected on Twitter. First time having him chop it up with us, hip hop head. Y'all already know, don't nobody come up here if they don't know what they talking about. So I don't even need to co-sign this dude. I got my man Jake. What's going on, fam?
Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you having me, man. I was checking out a few of these episodes the last couple of nights. I'm excited.
No doubt, man. Excited to get you up here. But y'all already know how we do. Let's jump right into it. This episode comes courtesy of Vague. Vague sent me a video with this dude saying that Black Thought was the greatest of all time. I'm like, fuck no, he's not. But that's not a diss. Most people would take that as a diss. He's just not the greatest of all time. But I was talking to Nick, who may be jumping on a little bit later, about how Thought is number one on a lot of my other lists, you know, but just not the greatest of all time. And it had me thinking like back to when I was a shorty. Back in 84, it was hip hop. I was 10 in 1984. So it was either hip hop or wrestling, one of the two. But that's all I thought about. So it was NWA, WCW, WWF. But the thing about those leagues were they had different belts for different things. You know, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, they always had the world chip. But, you know, Arn Anderson had the TV title. I think Ricky Steamboat used to cop the Intercontinental title. And I feel like with hip-hop, if you're not the GOAT, if you're not the greatest of all time, you basically don't get no love. You know what I mean? And it's like there's a lot of different categories, a lot of different belts that I feel like are out here that cats, yo, you may not be the greatest of all time. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment to get, but you could be the dopest storyteller of all time, or you could have the dopest discography of all time. There's different belts that I feel like you should have. Because, I mean, think about it. What Jay saying 97, 98, who's niggas argue all day about who's the best rapper, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas. Just on my timeline today, Nick was talking about Jay's the best ever, Vegas chiming in with, nah, I don't think so. So we still talking about who's the best ever, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas, or Pac, 20 years later. There's still a lot of love we need to be giving a lot of these other cats that we're not giving them. So I wanted to bring this in. So each one of these cats up here got 3 MCs in different categories. I want to know who they are, who walks away with the belt. Jake, you the first one today. Let's start with who do you think got the dopest voice? Like Google said once, it's mostly the voice. There's a lot of MCs out here that I feel like are dope. I felt like for a long time, I felt like J. Cole was dope, and I would always see him rhyme, but he just never had the voice for me to just be like, oh, that's J. Cole, like to just know right away. So you tell me, who are your 3 dopest MCs? Who do you think had with the dopest voice, and who would you give that belt to of having the dopest voice in hip hop?
So you said Guru right off the bat. That's arguably number one for me. Obviously, I'm from Massachusetts, so you know, with the Gang Starr connection starting here, I like his voice. I mean, anytime you know an artist by their voice, whether it be Busta Rhymes or whatever, you know, I always like that. But so I got Guru, I got Method Man,
all right,
and a little out of left field, Smooth the Hustler. I love Smooth the Hustler's voice, that grimy. Nobody really did. He wasn't yelling, but he's real grimy, just like his voice. I could pick it up from anybody.
All right, no doubt. So who walks away with the belt with you?
I gotta go Guru, man. I gotta go Guru because that voice is just too smooth, man. He could say the toughest stuff with us. He's got girl tracks, whatever. It just all sounds dope.
Yeah, no doubt. Can't never go mad with Guru, man. That's a dope pick, man. Rec, I see you nodding your head. Who's your three?
Man, crazy. So my three, Guru, of course, for the same reasons that he gave, man. I nickname him Mr. Monotone Flow, man. It's the one cat that you're not gonna fall asleep listening to because you want to hear what he's gonna say. So Guru is my number one. Rakim was my number two, and my number three, Mr. Tracy Lynn Curry, man, aka the Doc, DOC. Man, without that car accident, whew, we don't know, but those are my three, man. Those are the three that I picked as far as just the voice, man. When those guys come on, you know exactly who you're listening to just from their voice alone. You ain't got to think about it. There's no thought to it. It's just you know exactly what you're listening to.
All right, and who walks away with the belt with you? With the dopest voice?
Man, Guru, man. It's a tough one, man, because all three of them have distinct voices. They all are dope lyricists. But, man, Guru, man. I got to give it to Guru.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Jace, who you got on tap with your three?
So I got Rakim, I got DOC, and third was kind of hard for me. There were two people that I kind of fought for, but I gave it to Method Man. Whenever Meth was on the track, he had very vocal presence, kind of nasal, raspy, baritone voice, but you know exactly who it was when he hopped on. But the man that walks away with it, by default, because his voice is still there, is Rakim to me.
Okay.
DOC, had he kept his voice, he probably would have got it, but the R gets it from me.
You know the ill thing that Meth used to always do that used to trip me out? He used to always slurp. That slurping sound that he would make when he was rapping. You know what I mean? Like, definitely only Meth was doing that, but definitely. All right, so you got Rakim walking away with the belt. Vay, what you got on tap, man?
All right, I was kind of, because I got a little confused with what I should be picking, not the categories, but you know, as far as the personal favorite. So I started looking for unique stuff or whatever. So voice, I got Q-Tip, I got Be Real, because they have three very distinctive sounds. You know, nasal, raspy. I don't really know what you can categorize Q-Tip's voice as, but you know, they're the type of MCs where when you hear them, you know that's Q-Tip. You know what I'm saying? When you hear Jadakiss, you know it's Jadakiss, and same thing with Be Real. It's like unmistakable. So, as far as who will walk away, I think I'll go with Q-Tip. Because when Q-Tip is saying some shit and he's like really riding a track, like nobody can imitate him. There'll never be another voice like that, and if it is, we'll be like, oh, this ain't sound too much like Q-Tip. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just distinctly his. Whereas, you know, like with Be Real, he kind of doesn't talk like that. You know what I'm saying? Kiss kind of talks like that, but you could tell when he rhyming, he gets a little bit more raspy. But with Q-Tip, man, he in interviews like that, he on the track like that, and you know, it's just dope for Tribe and the type of lyrics he puts out. So I will give it to Q-Tip.
All right, tell me this. I don't want to get off topic, but you said if anybody else came out sounding like Tip, cats would be like, How do you feel about Action Bronson and Your Old Drew sounding like Ghostface and Nas?
Well, I never thought Your Old Drew sound like Nas.
Okay.
Until people said he sound like Nas, and then I could kind of hear it. But with Action Bronson, I ain't like him at first at all, because I thought he was a complete carbon copy, because it wasn't just sounding like Ghostface. He was saying the type of things that Ghostface would say, which was making me feel like you're just a copy of him. But if you listen to Action Bronson close enough, you can tell the difference between him and and Ghostface. So I mean, I still feel like, I mean, you can't help your voice, obviously, but I still feel like if you are spitting what that person would spit, then it's suspect. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, you already sound like him, now you rhyme like him. You know, what's the deal? So
all right. No doubt, no doubt. And for my joints with dopest voices, I had Big, I had Guru, and I had Jadakiss. So it's funny. Jada's voice just was always like the illest to me and everything like that. But again, I gotta go with Jake and Rec on this and give it to Guru, man. You know what I mean? One of the things I always tell cats about Guru is, for years I don't ever think I heard Guru until he passed away. And what I always tell people I mean by that is, by Premier being like my favorite producer, anytime I heard a Gang Starr track, I always heard 80% Premier, and then like Guru was in the background. You know, I always knew Guru was dope, but when he died, it was like that was the first time I started really hearing Guru and really hearing how dope he was. And I know a lot of cats were like, Guru's like a 2.5 mic MC, and I get it because I used to maybe think that, but Guru's definitely 4 better in my opinion now, because when you look at the things that he was talking about, from just to get a rep back in '89, you know what I mean, to like Jake was saying, he used to have songs talking about shorties, but they didn't sound like shorty songs. They were still hard hip hop joints, you know, talking about ex-girl to the next girl, or, you know, whatever like that. So, and like you said, he was the one who says mostly the voice, and I think that's one of the things that always gave Guru that extra notch. What was the voice? All right, so we got those joints. Next up, we're gonna go with the dopest storyteller. Who are your 3 top dopest storytellers? Who walks away with the chip? Again, Jake, your first time chopping it up with us. Who are your 3 dopest storytellers, and who walks away with the belt?
All right. G-Rap, and G-Rap. No, I had Cool G, and I had obviously Rick, the art of storytelling. Everybody says it. You know, children's story, but just everything he said. I mean, he just was very descriptive. Even Mona Lisa, Get a Slate, you know, just everything's talking about in that. The Moment I Feared. And then Nas, nobody talks about him as a storyteller, but Second Childhood, yeah. I don't know if he knew those people, if those are in his family, but those people, they are characters in my head forever. What's the song? I forget the name of it, where he did everything backwards.
Rewind.
Oh, good name, clever name. That you know, just the stuff he was saying. New York State of Mind Part 2. Even though he's not telling a story, I felt as though I actually was there in New York. Like I really started to understand New York, you know. So, but I give the absolute championship to Cool G Rap just for Brother on the Run alone. That I heard that song when I was in 8th grade, and it blew my mind. Because I was writing my little rhymes, you know. I thought I was all right. I was like trying to be like Crisscross, and then I heard that, and I was like, okay, all right. So you can say anything you want and make it rhyme. Okay, I'm gonna keep writing, you know.
All right, that's what's up. So G-Rap walks away with the chip on that one. I definitely feel you on that. Brothers on the Run, especially the remix. I love the remix even better than the OG joint. Rec, who you got on tap?
All right, so for dopest storyteller, man, I got Andre 3000. I got Slick Rick, and it was tough to pick a third, man. I kind of left it vague because I knew the third person, whoever I picked, wasn't going to have much of a shot between the first 2. If I had to give the belt to somebody, honestly, as much as I love Slick Rick, it wouldn't be Slick Rick. I would give it to Andre 3000, and not for the reasons you think. Every time I've heard Andre 3000 spit something, it's been a story. You don't really hear him breaking down like too many metaphors the way he just talking slick. It's always a story. You listen to Elevators, it's a story. You listen to Players Ball, it's a story. You listen to Benz or Beamer, he talking about robbing niggas. Like, it's a story. He's telling you a whole story every time he steps to the mic. Toilet T-shirt, it's a fucking story. Like, everything he steps to, it's a story. He doesn't go into it with like I'm gonna just outshine these cats on some lyrical shit. Nah, he's telling a story and he's killing you with the lyrics. So I had to go with 3000 on this one, man. This one was tough. This storytelling one was tough because I had to actually go back and figure out who I'm listening to, why I'm listening to them, and what they're talking about to break everything down.
You know what's bug, man, that you said that. I never thought about it like that, but while you're talking, I'm like going through 3,000 verses in my mind, and you're right.
Stories.
You a story. You know what I mean? But this,
stories. She lives in my lap. Story.
Right.
Everything is a story. Hey, y'all. Story.
Yes, the art of storytelling. Where
All
it's
storytelling.
Like,
Story. I can't. And I went back and listened to everything that I had and didn't have for the most part over the last week. And I was like, yo, this cat's telling stories every time. It don't matter if he hits you with an 8-bar, something to mess your head up. The rest of it is a dope-ass story. So I had to give it to 3000, man. If Slick Rick didn't get locked up and he has some stuff behind that last album, maybe. But you figure for 20 years this man's been telling stories and he don't want to tell no more stories because he think his shit is whack?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Even with the whole Day in the Life Andre Benjamin. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I feel you on that. One. Jace, what you got for Tap, fam?
I got Slick Rick. Like Rex said, this was hard to get 3. I got Big. And God, man. I'm just gonna go with it. Ghost, man. I had Ghostface also in there.
Hey, you can't get mad at Ghost, man. Shaky, my favorite stories, big.
Yeah, man. But for me, Rick walks away with it. Shout out to Slick Rick. He walks away with it for me, man.
All right, no doubt. All right, Vague, who you got, man? Vague, who you got?
All right, I had Slick Rick. I had Big, and I had Ice Cube.
Okay.
And if I had to pick one, like Slick Rick, we all know, he put out an album that was all stories for the most part. Big definitely told a bunch of dope stories, but I think what enhanced his stories was the whole cinematic that they would do. That wasn't really something that happened that often with the the ad libs under the track and stuff like that. Like not Somebody Got to Die. What's the first track on Life After Death?
Life After Death?
Yeah, what's the
Somebody Got to Die.
Yeah, Somebody Got to Die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Somebody. Okay. I was thinking about the last track. But yeah, like even on there, like I remember hearing just the ad libs, and they like literally act out the entire lyrics with the sound effects and all that. But I think that kind of aids him. I'm gonna give it to Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? He's probably next to Big, my favorite rapper of all time. Mainly because like Slick Rick's stories were like, even though he has some mature stories, you know what I'm saying, from a sexual nature, it always felt like, it was the kid's story, like the way he would address it, right? And with Big, it was a little bit different, like I explained. But with Ice Cube would take your fairy tale and turn it into a hood story. You know what I'm saying? Or even stories like My Summer Vacation. Like, I love that fucking record. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just so dope. Like a lot of records on Death Certificate, on America's Most Wanted, you know what I'm saying? Ice Cube just had mad stories, like Once Upon a Time in the Projects. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just, it was a story, but and then some. You know what I'm saying? It was like, damn, how is he gonna flip, this Sesame Street shit? He named the Sesame Street characters, but he brought it to the hood. You know what I'm saying? So
Bird in the Hand.
Yeah, exactly. So I would give it to him because I feel like even though I enjoy Slick Rick and Biggie's stories, well, Ice Cube's joints, I really used to listen hard because they were like comical, they were serious, they were everything. They were everything that Big was doing and everything that Slick Rick was doing is combined in Ice Cube stories. So I give it to Ice Cube.
All right, no doubt. Well, here's my three. Breck is about to hang up in a minute, so we'll keep it going without him.
We know it don't include Slick Rick, so just go ahead,
man. No. Slick Rick is not on my.
Let me get close to the screen.
Not in my top 3. I told you that's one of my unpopular hip hop opinions. That Slick Rick is not the greatest storyteller ever. He don't even make my top 3. This is the controversy. Well, let me get my first 2 out, and then we'll get with controversy. First is Big. No reason to even go into what Big does. Big is Big. Second is Nas. Just like Jake was saying, I feel like, even when he's not telling a story, the way he's rhyming, I can see what's going on. Like when I first heard New York State of Mind, the first one, it's like I see everything happening in my head. You know what I mean? And just so you know, the characters in Second Childhood aren't fake because Miss Versi is actually Vegas's aunt, Ill Will's mother. So
what?
The characters are real, like Veg said, don't never curse in front of Miss Versi. So that's the other thing, that those characters in Second Childhood are real. And third, my controversial pick, Joe Budden.
I knew it. I'm hanging up.
Hey, here's the thing, and this is one of the things I had to start asking people, because people always want to talk about stuff they've never heard. If you've never heard 3 Sides to a Story by Joe Budden, if you've never heard Who Killed Hip Hop, which is him rhyming for 15 minutes about who killed hip hop, if you've never heard X's I Couldn't Help It off of Padded Room, y'all cannot judge this man. I used to be like that too. I used to hear Joe Budden's name and just think, oh, that Pump It Up nigga. I get it. But if you don't, everybody out there listening and watching, listen to the song. Go to YouTube and put in Who Killed Hip Hop. Joe Budden. What happened? What'd you say, Jace?
I said Pump It Up, go come on.
Y'all got jokes, but y'all never heard it. This is what I'm talking about. We be debating about stuff people ain't never even heard. People like, yo.
Man, I've heard it. Joe Budden is a storyteller. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
He's a storyteller. That's the first thing I heard outside of that first album. Because one of my homeboys, we was at work. He was like, "You gonna listen to some Joe Buttons today?" And I listened to that, and I was like, "All right, we good."
I'm telling you, Joe Budden, I get it. I used to be one of you. But I'm telling y'all, people have come through my house. I say Joe Budden, they laugh. I send them home with my Best of Joe mixtape. They hit me back like, I see what you was talking about. So just give Joe a listen. I'm not talking loving hip hop Joe and the shit he does on Complex. Joe is nice with the storytelling. But all that to say, I got to go with Nas personally as a storyteller. The funny thing is one of my favorite stories from Nas is probably off of one of his wackest albums, that double album shit. But he got this joint on there called Sekou Story. You know what I mean? And I love that's like, I see all of it. Like that joint to me is so dope. It's on that album, so most cats don't even know what I'm talking about.
Hold on, what song? What song?
It's called Sekou Story. It's on disc 1 of, I don't even remember the name of the album.
Street Disciples.
It's on the first. It's on disc 1.
All right.
It's about him meeting up with this dude Sekou out in Miami and how things go down. But real dope joint. So I gotta give that to Nas. Let's go with this. Let's go with who is the dopest spitter. And the way I'm defining dopest spitter is if cats remember Stretch and Bobbito, Rap City, anytime that you could hear somebody just get on a mic and just go at it. I'm talking about you just giving somebody the mic and just being like, you off to the races. They just gonna spit. They don't have to be about no stories, no topics. You give this person a mic and you look up 45 minutes, they're still going at it. Who's the dopest spitter that y'all got? Jake, who are your 3 dopest spitters? Who walks away with the check?
So one of the guys that came to mind first on that was Black Thought. Because of what I seen in ciphers and on different radio stations, not necessarily on any album or anything, but he's just like, I'm like, he gets outshined by the band. You know what I mean? Like he raps, he's incredible, but he gets outshined by the whole musical thing of the Roots. You just put on just some beats, like any Static Selector song that he's on is like, whoa. So Black Thought, KRS, who is best first favorite, KRS still my favorite MC as far as just making stuff happen. And then, of course, MC Juice, man, the freestyle fanatic. I've never seen a freestyle better than him ever. I don't know if any of you saw recently he did a freestyle on RA, the Rugged Man's. I think it's a podcast or I don't know what it is, but he's just an animal, man. So
right.
I guess I would give it just on purely what you're saying, how you define it, the metric you're using. I would say MC Juice is just dope. He could just rap forever, and it makes sense. He doesn't repeat himself often. I give him the crown on that.
All right, I gotta check out this MC Juice. I ain't never.
I'm intrigued. I'm typing.
Oh my god! Can I drop links into this thing?
Just shoot them. Just shoot them to all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You co-signing, dude. I'm all ears.
Woo! He battled Supernatural. So Supernat's another dude that is a freestyle fanatic. He can't make it down for shit, but he can't write a song, you know. But he can rap his ass off. And Juice and him used to battle all the time, and it's very controversial who won and yada yada yada. Juice is the one who beat Eminem in the Rap Olympics in '96 in the finals. So, but recently he was on RA's. I must be like a video podcast like this, and it's murderous.
All right, no doubt. I gotta check out for dude. Rec, who you got for your top 3?
All right, so dopest spitters, man. Number 1 is Redman. Number 2 is Corrupt. Number 3 is Elza. Based off what you said, you know, as far as not repeating anything, I'm going with Elza, man. Every time I hear this dude freestyle, I've never heard him repeat anything.
Yeah.
He has a way of saying things almost to the point to where you got the question. Sometimes is it written like, yo, you wrote that? And the dude goes, man. I think he wasted time in Slum Village. Yeah, I'm gonna say that live on air. I think he wasted time in Slum Village. It should have never happened. But Elza, man, from a spit standpoint, I'm going with Elza, man.
All right, no doubt. Jay, so you got, man?
Bro, I got Redman. I got Big L, and I got Black Thought. And I'm riding with Black Thought all day. This man has been around since the early 90s, and I've never heard him say anything twice. Never. Lyrics to go all day, every day. Twice on Sunday. 3 times on Monday. Philly's own.
Yeah. I ain't mad at that at all. Vay, who you got, man?
All right, man. I'm sitting here like editing my list. That's what it is? Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? But I got Redman because I've actually heard him on the radio where they had to stop him from freestyling.
Yeah. Yep.
Joel Ortiz.
Ooh.
Because that dude is nasty. The first time I ever saw him, I think I mentioned this before in your podcast, was in a rap battle. Like some NBA Live rap battle, and he was just roasting niggas. Like one by one. And I was like, damn, who was that? You know what I'm saying? And then later he came out with that Bodega joint. And Eminem. Mainly because when you watch this dude freestyle, you know exactly why people say he's nice.
Yep.
It ain't the songs, the singles that came out with the clowning Britney Spears. It ain't the kill your mama shit. It's the freestyle. It's the shit they did in 8 Mile where his shit wasn't written. He didn't hear the other dude's verse. He really reacted live to that shit for the movie, for every battle. He's just one of them dudes, man, where, you know, that shit make me feel like, damn, am I enough? Well, really, all 3 of them make me feel like, shit, am I good enough? Am I enough of a hip-hop fan? Because these niggas are just unlimited rhymes. And I got to give the belt to one, right?
Yep.
I give it to Redman.
Okay.
Because Redman can still do that. Nobody really checks for Redman albums or nothing like that. I heard him freestyling the other day, and I was like, matter of fact, when he was on the BET Cypher, as soon as Redman started rhyming, niggas was like, yo, shit, Redman can still go. That dude is hip hop, so I give it to Redman.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. And for my 3, I got Royce the 5'9". For anybody who needs receipts, get that bar exam 4. Shut every shit down. I got Elzai and I got Black Thought. I'm going with Black Thought. In fact, the first when the whole conversation came up about GOAT, it was like, yo, Thought ain't the best ever, but just best spitter ever. Like, I don't even got to think about it. Like, Thought is nasty. Y'all spoke about the supernatural stuff. I never really got into that supernatural mad skills stuff like that. And it's like Jake said, you know, couldn't make a good song. I always compare them freestyle dudes to cats at the Rucker. Like, they will tear up a playground, but you put them on a professional team, it just don't work. You know what I mean? So it's like that, the same structure. Like, they're incredible freestyle artists, but can't make those songs. Thought can do that. Thought, we talk about never hearing stuff again. I feel like Thought, at least for me, from Stretch and Bob or any radio show or Sway or whatever, what he spits, you're never gonna hear again. With so many other MCs, you hear them spit something, then the album dropped 3 months later, you're like, oh, that's the verse he kicked on such and such. I've never heard Thought repeated. I've seen Thought come off the top, and Thought can just go. Like Jake said, Static Selector. I think he does mixtapes. I forgot, is it J Period or somebody he does stuff with?
Money Making Jam Boys.
Yeah, Money Making Jam Boys. Like,
Making of a Murderer with Styles P.
Yeah. It's like when dude just is on, and we did this on my show about when we did our hip hop wish list, and I said a Black Thought solo album. I don't want nobody who can read no fucking music. I don't want no musicians. All I want is niggas who know how to hit pads. I don't want no. If you know how to read music, you can enter the studio. I just want, before the world comes to an end, I think we all deserve a Black Thought album with not the Roots back. You know what I mean? I don't want to see no Quest. I don't want to see Quest. I don't want that. Yo, secretly, I call Quest Inspector Ty. People who are old enough to remember Beverly Hills Cop will remember how Axel had to hide from Inspector Ty. I want Black Thought to hide from Quest during this album. I want him to scooch down under the desk and act like Thought is over there when he ain't. Let's get that Thought album with just, I don't care if it's a mixtape. Just give us something. I don't want no live instruments. I just want Thought and beats and just let that man spit. So that's that. Let's go with the dopest punchlines. Prayerfully, most cats out there watching know what a punchline is. I'll give an example. Big L, you see them all the time. Lord Finesse. Y'all be shocked. I said this to some people online. They was like, what's a punchline? I'm like, okay. It's a real shit. I can't make
evaluate their life.
That's an era thing.
Right. So, you know, how Big L would say something like, I don't know, we don't buy luggage, we go shopping when the plane lands. A lot of time a punchline is something with the word like in it. So they're likening two things together. So just for my people out there who may not know what a punchline is, y'all would be shocked. So dopest punchlines in hip hop. Jake, who's your top 3?
So Lord Finesse, Eminem, and Big L.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Edo G, just because I got to be a homer. But a lot of Edo G's latest albums didn't really do any. Nobody heard them. They're just sort of local dude. But he's I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, of course. But, you know, he just had a bunch. But that's honorable mention. To me, Lord Finesse on the Awakening album.
Yes.
Oh my God, man! What's the song where he's talking to? He's trying to get the girl. He's like, "I got a boyfriend." Yeah, well now you got a man friend. You know, and he's like, let her. She thinks she's outstanding. I'll leave her outstanding in the cold. Like, come on, man! It was fantastic. Big L, obviously. You know, I'm at the steakhouse pulling cake out. You had some cheap Chinese shit getting takeout. You know, like it's like crazy. Yeah. But Eminem to me is the pinnacle. I mean, he was such a great battle rapper, and you know when he to give you a little background on me, I used to, you know, I was making music. I stopped recording music probably 5-6 years ago when I started having kids. But to me, I was getting by on being white and being okay. You know, like, oh, you're pretty good for a white guy. Okay, cool. And they let me in these shows and stuff. But then when Slim came out, it was like, all right. I gotta redo some stuff. But the stuff that's on two of my favorite verses from M are on the Rocket stuff when he was doing stuff with a guy named Skam, Skam, and I forget the exact name of the track, but he said stuff on there is like, I'll take it back before we knew each other's name. I'll run an ultrasound, snatch you out your mother's frame. I'll take it further back than that, back to Lover's Lane, to the night you first thought of, a cock block your father's game. Yeah, okay. So it was like too much. It was too funny, too sinister, and like, man, it made me had to rewrite everything and rethink everything. So I give him the crown on the punchlines.
All right, no doubt. You can't go wrong with M. Rec, who you got, man?
Oh, fucking Eminem. His raucous shit was crazy, man. Any Man.
Oh, that I was gonna say, that's probably one of my favorite M joints. Man, off of
and to hear Babu cut that shit up, like for years, I didn't know what the fuck Babu was cutting up, like what he was doing. And then when I figured it out, it was like how we had the conversations about the Ninth Wonder shit. That was me with Babu in that song.
Right.
That was whew. All right. My bad. So dopest, dopest punchlines, right?
Yep.
All right, so my list changes all the time, man. So for right now, 2017, that's who I'm going with. Skyzoo, you haven't heard that EP. That Peddler's EP will change your life, man. That dude is vivid as fuck right now with these punchlines.
That's my favorite rapper right now. Just putting that out there. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. That's my favorite dude right now.
Yeah. Kill, you already know I got to go with my boo, Rhapsody. You know, her punchlines are a beast, man. And she is one to not play with when it comes to getting on this mic and saying some shit. And the cat that y'all have given me faith in for this year is Royce da 5, man. After y'all told me about that mixtape, I went and that shit has not left my truck. It's been in my truck for what are we in August? We did that podcast back in I think February. Veg, you was telling me about this on the podcast. Royce da 5'9", man, I've always been a fan since Boom in the early days, but the shit that he is saying is to the point where you're like, all right, bro, you don't have to say all this. We get it. Yeah. He's just that dope. And like Kill always say, man, for the viewers that don't know some of these artists we talking about, you need to go check Royce da 5'9", man. Period, point blank. Period. Like there's no, and I'm not talking Slaughterhouse. I'm talking his solo shit that he's doing right now. What's the name of the mixtape?
For Exam 4.
Yeah, you got it. You have to check that out. If you consider yourself a fan of hip hop and you haven't heard it, hey man, like I always say, man, slap yourself.
And here's the wildest part about that, because people don't believe I don't hear a lot of this new music that's out here. Some dude on Twitter was questioning me like, yo, how haven't you heard Bad and Bougie? I'm like, my nigga, I wake up, I listen to what's in my car, I'm in the hood all day, I come home and watch ESPN all night and make beats. Where would I hear Bad and Bougie? Right. During the first time I heard Bad and Bougie, my daughter's dance recital, hip-hop, was dancing off. Words Born of Jesus. Like, that's the first time I heard Bad and Bougie.
I believe it. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is so that mixtape with Royce, I forgot what song it is, but I didn't even realize something.
When he did it over.
Yeah, these are other rapper songs, like Lil Bootsy and all these dudes and everything. So it's like something came on like one of them VH1 commercials, and I'm like, oh snap, that's the joint Royce took. But the other thing I want to say about Royce, which was ill, because I was watching this Primo interview, is he was saying the craziest thing about doing a Prime album was that this was going to be the first time that he had worked with Royce sober, and he didn't know if Royce was the step, because the whole time he had been working with Royce, he was an alcoholic. So Royce was like, you know, Preem was like, I don't know if he's going to come out and be able to do the same without the alcohol. And he was like, when he heard Prime, the title track, he was like blown away, like, yeah, he's back. So when I really heard that, really put it in the perspective to what Royce is doing now, sober, like, let that sit in for a minute, y'all, because there's been a lot of times when MCs will come through my crib back at Morgan Veg, and I'd be like, yo, spit something. They like, oh, I got to light up first. I'm like, yo, just spit something. Like, nah, I got to light up first, you know? So me, because I don't drink or smoke. So for me, I'm always like, I ain't never made a beat high, never made a beat drunk. So for me, I'm always like, is it your talent or is it the weed or is it the liquor? So for me, it's even doper to see what Royce is doing at this level sober. You know what I mean? And then again with Jake, I wanted to shout out Ed O.G. This is one of my favorite albums from the 90s. You know, when it started off with I'm Different, with Special K and Teddy Ted producing this, one of my favorite albums, one of my favorite songs, Just Be a Father to Your Child, is just as important. Dropped in 1990 as it is in 2017. So definitely salute to Ed O.G. for that. Jake, you got punchlines.
I don't know if this is because I've been rocking it a lot lately, man, but I got Fabulous in there. I got Royce, and I got Rhapsody. And for me, Rhapsody takes it right now.
Okay. All right. I still got to hear some of this shorty, man, because y'all two, between the two of y'all.
I'm telling you, man. Telling you.
All right. I gotta check this shorty out. Veg, who you got on tap, man?
I got Fabulous. I got Jay-Z, and I got Royce.
Okay.
And Royce probably got in there recently, since Trust the Shooter.
Trust the Shooter was stupid.
That's the mixtape you was telling me about, Vag.
Yeah, because I always knew he was nice, but for some reason I couldn't get into him, and I didn't know he was an alcoholic. But the difference in him rhyming as an alcoholic and him rhyming now is I didn't like his aggression on the tracks back then. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like he was being too aggressive, and I didn't believe him. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like it's just angry rap. But now that he has a clear head, he still has the same aggression, but the shit is better. You know what I'm saying? Like the bars are better.
Yeah.
As far as who would take the top punchlines, I give it to Hov because, and I don't even call him that shit. But I would give it to him only because, I remember when he used to rap like the Foosh Niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't the biggest fan during that time because that was kind of getting old. But with Reasonable Doubt, he made me a big fan, and Big is my favorite. So when I saw they was on a track together, I'm like, oh, is he gonna hang with Big? And not only did he do that, but when that nigga said, and I was rhyming, this was in the prime of my being in ciphers and battling niggas. When that nigga said, like, short sleeves, I bear arms. I was like, because as an MC, you like, damn, why did I come up with that? You know what I'm saying? So that to me, and he has numerous lines over time through different albums, like I try to tell dudes today on Twitter. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like Jay-Z, he was just clever. Like Fabulous is kind of like Jay-Z in that way. And like I said, Royce just kind of got there for me, so I can't give him the belt. But I give it to Jay-Z because if there's one thing that he did and he continues to do, as you can see with everybody quoting all the new shit with the, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay. Like, he's just good at that shit. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not nothing like the first punchline I said. So, yeah, I give it to Jay-Z.
All right. No doubt. On my list, I got Lord Finesse. To me, like the OG of punchlines. Big L, who I felt like was like Lord Finesse's successor almost. I felt like him and L were almost like Fat Joe and Pun. You know what I mean? And I always linked them two together, and it's just bugged that, both of the people who were coming after, Fat Joe and Lord Finesse both passed away. But yeah, I felt like Big L was just taking it to the next level. And my favorite dude, but the dude who gets the chip, man, and nobody ever names for punchlines is Pusha T, man.
I knew you were going to say that.
Man, I got to do some homework on Pusha T outside of the clips.
I knew you were going to say that, Kill.
Yo, Pusha T, man, the funny thing with Pusha T is me and my man Mills would be like, yo, how can he find another way to talk about crap? And he always does. It's like I feel like everybody has that one MC that we just give the pass to. It's like I'm not with all the drug references, but Pusha T he gets the free pass to talk about drugs all he wants, because I just don't know anybody else who can what do you say? It's the hood Obama shoveling McCain. Like he just always has a way to talk about Kane. And one of my favorite lines, because at first I didn't get it. My man Mills had to school me. Because I'm just, y'all know me, I'm a producer, so I'm always beats. And he said, niggas running a race just to settle for Solange. Yo, he's saying you running a race to come in second because Beyonce is first, Solange is second. I was just like, God, like, I got to get somebody to tell me what this dude be meaning half the time. So, again, I don't know anybody else who can rhyme about drugs for over 20 years and always find a new way to make it sound dope. If you haven't checked it, go to my website. I got a mixtape, The Anatomy of the D-Boy. It's all Pusha T. You will hear so many punchlines and so many different ways to talk about crack cocaine. I don't know what else to do with it. What's up, Vay?
I just want to give an honorable mention, and not just because he passed away, but because I was listening to some of his stuff recently. Prodigy, man. Lift you off your feet like ski lift.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even throw a TV at you, and I ain't even no fucking simile or nothing. The shit just sounds great. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yo.
Yeah, P had a couple. P said what he said, put holes in your shirt like Jamaican clothes.
Yeah. Like, he just had shit where you like, oh, shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he got to get an honorable mention just for having some of those kind of lines back then.
Yeah, no doubt. Next belt we going with the dopest original flow. So talking about cats who, when you heard them, you know, you like, damn, like they don't flow like nobody else. Like they got their own flow, they got their own style of rhyming. And a lot of people may not realize how hard that is to get. I mean, when you think about rhyming, it's, you know, it's kind of usually relatively simple, but there are MCs out there who have their original flow that nobody has. Maybe people have tried to bite it, but then come through. You know, even though people used to diss the Das FX flow, I thought the shit was dope. When Das FX dropped, that shit was dope to me. I don't care. That was brand new. People wanted to diss it later on, but I don't give a fuck who you was. If you was in the hip hop, when Das FX dropped, you was singing NAFX and Mike Checker, and you was digging too. So cats went in front on them and try to play them out like that. And now on the low, them dudes could both rhyme. Because Straight Up Suicide, where a lot of people didn't like it because they dropped the diggity, but they went in on that album lyrically. You know what I mean? And a lot of cats slept on that album. And their next album, their third album, was dope as hell too. Just had too many songs on it. But there's some bangers on that third Das album. But that's what we talking about, original flow. Jake, who do you have your 3 MCs with the most original flow?
Redman, number one. He had like a repetitive style he would do. Like my cellular phone blown in 3 zones, love seafood and keep my 9mm from it. But then he also had the like, yo, I got a slight problem. I smoke weed too much. These buckle up when I'm in my, you know what I mean? He just kind of had all different stuff, but you always knew it was him. LL Cool J, I get dissed all the time for this, man. But to me, I stopped saying it probably in the past 5 years, but people say, who's the best MC of all time? I said, LL Cool J. And it was like, huh? The dude with the shirt off? The dude from NCIS? And I cut hair for a living. I had a kid in my chair. I was like, hey, do you know that LL Cool J used to be a rapper? That's what he said. Because he's like 14. I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, I'm like, do you know Ice-T was too? Do you know? Like,
oh, my God. I just hurled myself out the window like, fuck it.
I know, right?
LL, he's not a rapper no more? What the fuck?
Nah, I mean, but the same thing. Y'all know I work with kids, and one of my teens was like, after seeing Straight Outta Compton, she was like, yo, Mr. Kill, Ice Cube was a gangster rapper? I just know that nigga from Are We There Yet in Barbershop. So this generation, I told you, I got kids who think Fat Joe's from Miami. Eddie Murphy, the first thing they think about is Donkey. You know,
is what?
It's Donkey off of Shrek. They don't know nothing about Coming to America and all that stuff, you know. So if you just say certain names to them, they just gonna be like, and when you say Ice Cube, they're like Barbershop. You know, they're not like
whatever.
Gangster rapper. I'm like, was he a gangster rapper? Like that nigga was the gangster rapper.
He made it.
I feel you, Jake. I feel you on that.
LL just had the illest flow, man. Yeah, and he always got good. He always. How am I trying to say it? Like every album was good, like up to 14 Shots to the Dome, and then after that, it was a lot of girl tracks and you know, dance clubby stuff, which is fine, make your money and all that. And he had his shirt off a lot around that time, but you know, Cannabis took a swipe at him. In my opinion, Cannabis had won that, you know, just line for line. But LL battled everybody. He's ill. Like I forget the name of the track. It's on EPMD's album, and he's like,
you talking about Rampage?
Yeah. Oh, forget it, man. He's like, I got rhymes. Forget it. I'm constipated. Yo, come on, like. So LL, but
can I add to that?
Yeah.
And this is like me and my brother was talking about LL, and we were talking about the Flavor in Your Ear remix, and you know, like who had dope verses and stuff like that, and who had like verses like, you know, Busta's verse around that time. We was like, yo, his shit don't even make sense. But we were kind of saying that about LL, but I had to pause for a second because I was like, his verse was kind of crazy, but that moment in the video where he's sitting in a chair and Shorty whining while he's kicking that, is it really be the flavor that be clogging your ear? I'm like, nah, that nigga's the man, man. Look, black, but look at that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at this video. He just made it hot because he's LL. So I agree, man. LL, he's not Bigo, but he's one of the greatest.
Yeah, it's not. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I'll put it that way.
Definitely.
But my number one, just the flow is big. I mean, so like I always come back to me. I'm a writer, so I'm the opposite of Kill, where it's like 80% lyrics, 20% beats. You know what I mean? Like if dudes put out an album on static, I would listen to it, you know, just because I want to hear what they have to say. But when Big said, like, just on Juicy, like, now honey's playing me close like butter play toast. It was just, he just slipped it in. Just, bloop, yeah. Like, they just do that, you know. And for me, that would have been a line that I would have ended my whole verse on, you know. That would be like, oh, the big line, you know, like, boom, to, like, end it. But he had so many lines like that with just slip it right in there. And so his flow was just nonstop and always something I wanted to listen to no matter what. So that's, even now. And it also happens to be my wife's favorite MC, so it's a lot that we have in common on that. So it's yeah, he takes the cake number one for me.
All right, no doubt, I feel you with that LL thing. When cats talk about L like that, I don't think they really listen to L. You know what I'm saying? Because L is number 10 on my top 10 list, and even when I say that, people look at me sideways. But I'm like, dog, if you know the knowledge on L. And everything, and I'll say this: if y'all watch Drink Champs, which is probably my favorite podcast out, it's not this one. Nor L is on there, and it's a dope episode. It's a dope episode.
I gotta catch it.
He breaks down something I've been wondering, and this is why Nor is my nigga, because the first thing he asked him was, "Yeah, what the fuck is pink cookies in the plastic?" Like, it wasn't about inside. It wasn't about tell me about Russell. It was like, oh shit. The plastic bag. And I've been wondering that for God knows how many years. So if y'all haven't watched it, check out the Drink Champ LL. Totally, so many dope stories.
You're not gonna tell us what it was?
Oh, I almost want y'all to go. He was just saying he was on the video. He was on the phone with a shorty, and he was just like, "Yo, fucking pink cookies in a plastic bag, getting crushed by buildings." And then he was like, "Yo, Marley, let's go." So that was it, you know, because for years people was like, "Oh no, it's condoms," saying you busting. That's what he said. Nah, I was just high one day, and I was just talking to a shorty, and I just said that, and we was like, "Yo, that's a dope title for a song. Let's go make it." So, but it's a lot of gems on there. Check it out. For cats out there who just think LL's on NS, I don't even know what the shit is because I don't watch it. NCSIB, whatever. Right? What you got, fam? What's your top OG flow?
Oh man! All right, so dopest flow, man. This is gonna be left field. So Ghostface, of course, man. There's nobody with. I'm not even counting Action Bronson, man. He's Fugazi. Ghostface, man, is one of one. Period. Point blank. My number 2 is Rakim. Without Rakim, I don't think the way that cats rhyme today it would be. Cats went from 1, 2, 3 to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, etc., etc. Just how they broke rhymes down, how they was able to put those patterns together, and the rhyme schemes. He changed the way that rappers write. And my last one, man, total left field because there has never been another one like him. Osan Jones, my man, ODB. This cat, man, it'd be certain tracks that like You God would be on, and I'd be mad as fuck because I know that ODB either missed the studio session or that nigga was drunk and he just couldn't get his rhyme out. I've heard some wild ass stories about ODB, man. Buddha Monk lives in the town that I grew up in when I moved out of New York, and I've heard some funny ass stories about that dude, man. They said this dude was ill when he wanted to be, but for the most part, he'd come into sessions just drunk and do whatever. My guy that gets the belt, man, is ODB. I love that dude, man. I love his flow. I love everything about ODB, man. That's who I give it to, man. ODB. He doesn't sound like anybody, and nobody coming behind him sounds like him. His son even tried, and the shit didn't work. So, I mean,
kill.
Yeah, it's not ODB, man.
I got a story.
Nope.
Let's go. I love Vegas stories. Let's go, man.
I'm gonna pass on that one. I'm a story, man.
It ain't about ODB, but it's funny that he would bring up his son on, and it's a shameless plug, but on the Best of Vegas that was mixed by Kill, I rhymed over the Brooklyn Zoo beat, right? That was repurposed by McLovin Beats. Well, so he had a hookup, or I guess you can call it a hookup, where ODB's son was supposed to be on it because he heard it. But guess what? His rhyme was too whack to be on it. Now, this ain't coming from me because I never got the opportunity to hear it. But niggas came because I was like, oh, word? Yeah, get his son on there. You know what I'm saying? This is father stuff. I'm kind of paying homage. Get him on there. And niggas just came back to me like, nah, man, this is just and I was like, damn. Like, so when you said his son tried, that's not an understatement at all. Like, he tried. But yeah, that was my story.
His son is hot.
All right. Thank you, Bank, for not ruining anything like you usually do when you tell your stories. Jace, what you got up for your joints, big?
Bruh, Rec, I'm with you, bro. Old Dirty's on my list. I've actually heard him rhyme, actually straight up spit.
Yeah, and he goes.
He can spit. Busta Rhymes, definitely. He's had so many different styles. He can give you wild, raspy, Dungeon Dragon. He give you slow. What you say in your own, put your hands where my eyes can see.
Mm-hmm.
So many different flows. And then my last one, I'm gonna go with Big, man. I'm gonna go with Big on my last one. He would start the verse with the word that he finished the last line with, and he mastered that. Right? I've never heard anybody that could do it the way he did it. For me, Busta Rhymes gets the kick. I think he's underrated in there as far as styles go, and you'll never get another Busta Rhymes, somebody who can give you that many different styles and master them all, in my opinion.
All right, no doubt. Veg, who you got, man?
All right, I got Rakim. Like Rex said, without Rakim, you know what I'm saying, the dudes may be rhyming differently. That Hip Hop Evolution documentary on Netflix, there was something in there that I didn't even know, but when Rakim talked about how he came up with his flow, which was completely original, and like you said, a lot of people rhyme like that because of him, was because he loved John Coltrane, and he loved the way John Coltrane played, so he patterned his rhyme style after the way John Coltrane would play, which just blew my fucking mind, because I'm just like, that's genius. You know what I'm saying? That's genius. That's artistry. That's all of that. And this is back then, you know what I'm saying, when dudes wasn't really thinking like that. They were really thinking about move the crowd, get the party going. And Rakim just was like, rap needs to be more skilled than that. You know what I'm saying? Another one is Common, because originally I wasn't the biggest fan of Common until One Day It'll All Make Sense. And it was mainly because I always felt like he was offbeat. because it was like the beat would be on and he would just rhyme, and it was really no rhythm. It was almost like spoken word being put to a beat. But once I started to think about it in that way, I got a greater appreciation for it, because it's similar to like a Chuck D. Like, cause when I was young, you know, maybe on the first album, not It Takes a Nation of Millions, you know, I was kind of didn't like Chuck D for the same reason, until I really understand what he was doing, because it used to sound like he was giving speeches over a beat with no real rhythm to his flow. But I think that's what made him unique. And Common is kind of gotten to the point now where he's somewhat more on par with the beat than he used to be. But I just love the fact that, you know, he can do that, because, you know, as a person who's an MC, for me, I'm all rhythm based. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear a beat and I write to a beat, I'm writing to the beat, whether it's drums or whatever it's in there. For somebody to do that and still sound like it goes together as far as the lyrics and the beat, you know, I think that's dope.
Well, Vic, real quick, can I say something real quick, man?
Yeah.
Where would you rate the Can I Borrow a Dollar album?
What, as far as his catalog? Or?
Yeah, in my opinion, he sounded a lot like Busta and a lot like Das EFX on that album.
I didn't like that album. I really only liked probably the singles. That's when I really didn't like. I was like, he's cool, but I really didn't like him. So I wouldn't rate it high for me. I mean, I would rate it way higher than that. What's that Universal Mind Control? That bullshit. That's last for damn sure. Then Electric Circus is last, so it's before it's above them shit. Right? Even though Electric Circus doesn't sound bad today, it really doesn't. It sounds like the timing was off when it came out back then. But the person I'd give the crown to, even over Rakim, is only because his flow, which he's had since back in the days, is what I give Kendrick and the Eminems and the Royce, like dudes that rhyme like that, respect, because I always feel like their rhyming styles are like evolutions of rhyming. Like they're doing everything. They doing everything all in a verse. But they doing everything we talked about, storytelling, you know what I'm saying? Everything is in the verse, and that's Pharoahe Monch.
Ooh, yeah.
Pharoahe Monch does not get enough props, and Eminem gave him props. Eminem said he patterned his flow after Pharoahe Monch, because Pharoahe Monch is fucking nuts. He does everything. You know what I'm saying? This nigga does everything. He sing, he does everything. And a lot of people forget even like the whole, you know, like when I Gave You Power came out on Nas' second album, you know, niggas was like, yo, it's crazy. But Organized Confusion did that with the Straight Bullet joint.
Already did it.
It was nuts. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is like Pharoah's kind of always been that kind of dude where his flow is so unorthodox, but it's like you got to respect it at the same time. It's so crazy. So I feel like if you can give somebody like a Kendrick props, he's doing what Pharoah was already doing since back in the day. Same thing with Eminem and same thing with Royce, and their evolutions of a style that he created. So, and like you said, we got to give props to dudes who really don't usually get it, even though he won a Grammy recently. So shout out to Pharoahe Monch.
He won a Grammy for what?
He was on that Miles Davis soundtrack.
Oh, that's what's up.
Glasper, and
yeah,
that song he was on won a Grammy, and it's the only song on there. I believe it's the only song with vocals on that soundtrack.
No, I gotta check that out. The cats I had for I had the Dot X, you know, because when Brand New first dropped, you know, I ain't gonna hold you. I really didn't like Sadat X. You know what I mean? Because most of these people, I didn't like their style when I first heard it because it was so different than what so many other people was doing. I didn't like Sadat X. Concerto and X Minor was probably one of my least favorite songs. You know, One for All, whereas now is probably one of my favorites. Freeway, I could not stand Freeway when I first heard Freeway. Like, yo, I could not stand it, dude. I was like, yo, you gotta be from my fucking city. Really? Like, you gotta be Philadelphia Freeway, sounding like this, you know? And then it ain't heard, then it made it even worse that my young boy Cassidy ate him in the battle, and he had to be like, "Yo, play a beat." I'm like, I'm like, yo, this dude. But again, fast forward so many years, I love Freeway Style. Jake One's album with Freeway, man, is one of my favorite albums. If y'all don't know about it,
there you go, Kill. Pull it out. Dope album.
It's got solid. It's got the CDs are solid. The cash is the liner notes.
Dope album.
One of the most original, packaging I've ever seen. Anytime I talk to Jake One about stuff, I'm always saluting this album. I love Freestyle now. Sean P, because to me, Ruck did not rhyme like Sean P. When you listen to Helter Skelter and all of that, again, I always compare them. I've always compared the two crews from BCC and Wu. And if somebody would have told you in 93, 94 that Ruck would be the nigga holding the BCC down, you'd get laughed at. Same thing if somebody told you in 93 that Ghost would be the MC holding the Wu down, you get laughed out the conversation where both of these dudes are the people holding them down. But when Sean P came out, when Sean Price came out with the Brokest Rapper, that whole P and the way that, his whole style is just so original. And to me, he's one of the few 90s MCs that I still would always check for. A lot of other MCs, I'm like, such got a new album, I'll get to it. They got a new album, yeah, I'll get to it. P got a new album, I'm copping that the day it comes out, whatever. And even with the Superior's Rex, it's no different. P, I mean, just with the title track, Imperious Rex, like, I love P style. I keep forgetting the rhyme, but it's like, when he said something like, I love selling Knicks at night, come home with my kids, watch Nick at night. Like, just his whole style was so original and so dope. And I got to give it to Sean P. Because, like I said, he's one of the few MCs from that era of the 90s that when he has something dropping, I'm all ears. You know what I mean? So that's it. So last joint, kind of tough, and I definitely want to hear what people think. Dopest discography. And when we're saying discography, I'm saying 3 albums in a row. So cats can't say Jay-Z with Reasonable Doubt, the Blueprint, 444. Like, these joints got to come consecutively in a row. Like, you got to have, like I told Cass the other day, if Steph Curry didn't have them back-to-back MVP seasons, he's not the player we're talking about today. There's something about having great back-to-back-to-back years playing ball in the league. Nobody wants that, he was nice this year and he was nice 5 years later and then he was nice as last year when he was coming off the bench. We want players that have consecutive years of being dope. So who has the dope, and this could be groups, MCs, whatever, who has the dopest 3 album in a row discography? Jake, take us home, bro.
All right. This was a hard one not because I couldn't think of it, because I could think of a lot. I believe that all of us men here come from an era where we listened to albums.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like when the CDs became everything, it was just like inflated singles. It was like a single with a bunch of fluff around it. And yeah, buy my album, $17. But tapes had to rock. Like, remember we got like an EPMD tape. How's the EPMD tape? It's good. I can listen to the whole thing straight through. I couldn't skip tracks. It had to be dope, right? So we all come from that era. Right now, I don't know. I don't know what rappers are doing with albums. It doesn't really matter if the album's good. It's like just as long as they get enough clicks on Spotify. But anyway, I digress.
My word, digress.
Everything's
That's why I'm laughing.
I turn everything into a PSA sometimes. I'm sorry. So dopest discography. I want to just spit them how I put them down. Gangstar, because you had Daily Operation, Hard to Earn, Moment of Truth. Those 3 albums are incredible. The years they came out and still hold up. Obviously, No More Mr. Nice Guy and Step Into the Arena were there too. But for those that hit for me, like those other ones did, Redman, What the Album, and then There's the Dark Side, and then Muddy Waters. I don't know how you feel about Muddy Waters. I was online just looking it up recently, trying to find the track listing so I could find them on YouTube. A lot of people didn't like Muddy Waters, man. I don't know if they're old cats, new cats, but
I mess with Muddy Waters was crazy.
They didn't like Muddy Waters, Jake. Fuck them.
Yeah, okay. And I'm trying to figure out how did you not like, but anyway. And then And then I got a two-way tie for third between Ghostface and Tribe. And I'll tell you why. Ghostface is there, right? Iron Man, Supreme Clientele, and then Bulletproof Wallets. Tribe, People's Instinctive Travels, not necessarily, but Low End Theory to Midnight Marauders, and then I really like Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and nobody else liked it. So that's a questionable one.
I like it.
Consequence was a fifth member of the group for some reason out of nowhere. That album, it was just because of the time of my life. At the time of my life it came out, it was just hitting. So that I guess that you could put Tribe as honorable mention for me. But for if somebody's gonna take the crown, I got to give it to Gang Starr, simply because Moment of Truth came out. I was going through some serious stuff in my life, and every word on that Moment of Truth song, a couple other jams on there, was like straight knowledge that I needed to hear at the time. I felt like it was God's gift to me, man, at the time. So Gang Starr gets the crown for me.
All right, that's dope. Right, who you got, man?
Man, I feel like me and Jake was sitting down writing our list together. Shit.
I know.
Redman. I mean, what the album? That shit's classic. There's a Dark Side. I know we talked about that one before. And Muddy Waters. If they don't like Muddy Waters, man, fuck them. Jump on my Twitter page at DJ Rec1 if you feel some kind of way about that shit. Number 2 is Ghostface. Iron Man 96. That joint came out. That was crazy. You had Fish, Assassination Day, Daytona 500, Motherless Child, Winter Wars, Supreme Clientele. I think out of all the albums, I think that was Ghostface at his best. Supreme Clientele was just a classic, good sounding Wu album. You had the joint One, We Made It, Stroke of Death, Shay Shay Lagos, Wu Banger, 101. I mean, he hits you from every angle. And, you know, for it to be an album on Def Jam, it was still gutter as fuck. And Gang Starr, but not in the same way that Jake did it. For me, stepping in the arena had a lot more weight for me, man. As a 13-year-old kid, you know, starting to travel the world and the country playing basketball, you know, your Walkman is all you got outside of basketball. And I played that tape until you couldn't read the word. What was the label? Crystals?
Yeah,
Chrysalis.
Until you could not read the label anymore on that tape, man.
Had the butterfly logo.
Yeah, between that album and Special Ed's album that year, those two albums, man, were the soundtrack to my life at that time. Daily Operation, 92, Hard to Earn, 94. They just played a really good, it was a really good soundtrack to my life at that time, man. Everybody that knows me, that watched this, knows that I live and die by Gang Starr. So, if I had to pick one, damn, Kill. Damn you. Man, I don't necessarily know if I could. It would be a tie between Redman and Gang Starr only because of the weight that they hold. I mean, these are artists that I still listen to this day. These are albums that I still listen to and play to this day. Nothing has changed from, you know, 92, 91 when these albums came out. So I can't give one to Chip, man. We're going to have to do a, you know, all-star MVP tie on this one. I can't give it to nobody, man. I really can't. I mean, do I gotta pick one?
Nah, bro. You want to do the tie? So
yeah, I got to do a tie, man, because these 6 albums, if you were to ever get in my truck and we went for a ride for 3 hours, you're gonna hear one of them. And I listen to it that much to the point to where, like, my kids are like, Dad, don't you listen to anything else? And I'm like, nah. I like these guys. They cool. And, you know, my kids, they want to hear the Bad and Bougie and all that bullshit. And I tell them, get out and walk. You want to hear Bad and Bougie, you can be Bad and Bougie on the side of the highway with your thumb out. That's simple. But I'm sorry, Kill, man. I can't pick one. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Jace, who you got, man?
Bro, there's so many that I could give. We ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. What I'm basically doing, man, is the impact that they had on my life, man. I got to start off with EPMD's first three albums. I think was cemented for me. Next, I got to go with Ice Cube, man. Death Certificate, excuse me, was Killer Will, Death Certificate, and no, Killer Will was the EP. Death Certificate, America's Most Wanted, and The Predator. I thought those three were hot albums right before the East Coast started to make its comeback. I got two more, man. Can I give you two more?
Yeah, knock yourself out, bro.
This was hard, man. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is Dead, and Balloon Mind State. 3 fire classic albums back to back.
You like Balloon Mind State?
I love Balloon Mind State, man. I love
Sticker Bush and all that bullshit. You like that?
I like Sticker Bush. I love it.
Sticker Bush. Oh, hey, fun fact. You know, if you play that shit backwards, it says something else. I found that out on the what was the single, Jay? What was the single, Jay?
Break It Dawn.
Break It Dawn. So on the single, at the end of it, it plays Sticker Bush backwards, and it says something else if you play it the other way. Sorry, DJ fun fact, but that shit was trash. I'm sorry, Jay.
Oh man.
Yo, keep Jace. Don't pay him no mind. This nigga don't like American Gangster. What the hell?
Right. He totally skipped that one, right? You know, last but certainly not least, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, man, Mobb Deep, man. Murder Music, Hell on Earth, and The Infamous. Those are 3 classic bangers to this day. Timeless music.
I wish I thought of that. That's a good one.
Yeah. So what you going with?
I'm not picking. Youngins, if you don't know about these 3 albums, man, y'all got to go home and do your homework. I'm not picking.
Yes. All right. Yes. Y'all just boycotting the barbershop, right? Y'all just boycotting the barbershop. Y'all boycotting styles. No problem. Hey, you boycotting the wall. You have a pick.
Get these brothers up on the wall, Kill.
You boycotting too. You just named 20 albums and
boycotting.
Don't pick nothing.
He'll flip you for real.
All right, man. What you got, man?
I got EPMD. Mainly starting with like honestly, you can go in a number of different ways because basically like the first 4 albums were classic to me. You know what I'm saying? So you can start with Strictly Business, you can start with whatever, Unfinished Business, whatever. For a new cat, Kendrick. I think when you listen to Section 80, you listen to Good Kid, Mad City, you listen to Pimp a Butterfly, and even when you listen to Damn, that dude is 4 for 4, man. And and all 4 of them were different from each other in some way, shape, or form. Just found out that you can play his album backwards, not literally in reverse, but the tracks in reverse. And it has a different flow to it, and it was set up that way, which kind of makes sense when you think about how it sounds in the skits and how they begin and end. It makes sense. And I think that's dope because he approached each album with some form of concept that wasn't something that we typically see, but it felt familiar, but it was still new. Now for the third one, I went through a couple. I'm just going to say them all. Y'all mentioned some of them. Redman, of course, first 3 albums. You know what I'm saying? I was a huge Redman fan. Muddy Waters is a classic, undeniable classic. Ghostface, you know what I'm saying? You can even if you don't count Iron Man, because I liked Iron Man, but I wasn't that big on it like a lot of people. But if you go through Supreme Clientele, what's the other one? Bulletproof Wallets, and even Fish Scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a mean 3 in itself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about not the Bulletproof Wallets that Sony messed up and sent to the store. The one that everybody had that had the right proper track listing and songs on it with Slick Rick and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit that felt like Supreme Clientele too. Kanye West. I think Late Registration, Graduation, and My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's like 3 really dope albums that don't really sound exactly the same.
Objection. I know it was coming. Objection.
Come on.
No. Objection.
808 does not count.
That was just do the right. Niggas coming up with their own rules. We skipping out. Like they say, making picks. Rec got ties. Y'all see
man. The nigga not rapping at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, he put that out. He put that out, man.
Yeah, and Gangstar. You know what I'm saying? Daily Operation, which is my favorite Gangstar album. Hard to Earn, and Moment of Truth, man. And it's like Guru and Premier together, man. Like y'all mentioned earlier, when it came to like Guru's voice, and I think it was also his cadence and his presence, because I never felt like, you know, he was one of the greatest MCs of all time. Because I always say this to my brother, I'm like, that lemonade is a popular drink and it still is. That shit is whack. Like, like I said that back then. I'm not gonna change it now. There's no disrespect to the God, because when Mass Appeal come on, I get in my 90s bag, because Guru just commands a certain presence, and I felt like he never lost that. Even when he did Jazzmatazz, you know what I'm saying? He just had a presence that made you pay attention to him. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't really about, is he the nicest? Does he have the best flow or punchlines? It was just, he commanded the song and made you pay attention. Who would I give it to? I think I would give it to, I'll give it to Ghostface. Only because with Ghost, he kind of surprised me, because I didn't really like Ghost on Wu-Tang first album, except for like Can It Be. Then when he was on Only Built for Cuban Links, I really started to like him. And when Iron Man came out, you know, like I said, I liked a lot of records on there, but I still was kind of iffy. Yo, when Supreme Clientele came out and every album after that, Supreme Clientele was when I was doing strictly hip hop. When I tell you that I swear I put almost every song on that album in rotation at some point, I know niggas had to be at home like, nah, this nigga got Child's Play in the rotation. God damn. Like, we literally was like, yo, we should play this Child's Play shit. This shit crazy too. You know what I'm saying? So with Ghost, for Ghost not to be a dude who you'd be like, he's a lyrical assassin, or maybe some people might not feel like he's the greatest storyteller, because sometimes the stories is just everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga be like, Shonda in the kitchen making eggs. You like, the fuck does that mean, Ghost? But the shit sound hot. You know the shit sounds hot, and Action Bronson be trying to do it. I don't really like that. But I'll give it to Ghost, because, like you said, man, for him to hold down the Wu, to be one of the most unlikely cats, at least if you thought that in the beginning, to hold down the Wu and keep them alive, to the point now where not this new album, but he's the executive producer of the Wu album that's going to come. Not this shit that's supposed to be coming now, but the next one, says a lot about him and what he knows about making dope albums.
There's 2 fucking Wu-Tang albums supposed to be coming out.
Oh man, you ain't know? Yeah.
Nigga, I don't want to know. I'm good. I'm so good. It's like another Godzilla movie. Like, yo, let's move on. We had the $1 Million album, then we had the album that Riz is good. Now you like, not this one, but the next one. Let's just
look. This is the thing. This new shit came out of nowhere. Like last week, they put out a song featuring Redman, and all of a sudden now they got an album that was put together by Mathematics and some other shit. But the story was that Ghost was going to executive produce the next.
I heard that. I didn't know they did anything.
Yeah, so I don't know what this new shit is. So I'm hoping still the other one happens, because look what Ghost does with his albums, man. He really thinks about them shit. So
hey, don't front, Kill. You saw the last Godzilla with Samuel L. and you thought it was fire. Don't front.
You mean King Kong, nigga? Not Godzilla, King Kong. The last Godzilla had...
Wasn't that Godzilla at the end he was fighting?
Godzilla was with my man from Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was with my man from Breaking Bad. You talk about Kong Island. All I'm saying is this. Executive producer to me is like coach. And not everybody can coach. And we saw from Phil Jackson, not everybody can coach and go to the boardroom. So I hear that once y'all co-sign it and tell me it's dope, that's when I'll get excited. Whoever executive, that never has excited me. Oh, Just Blaze gonna executive produce the new Slaughter. Executive production has never excited me before. I got it when y'all co-sign it. I'm just so good with the Wu because Wu got like 40 albums, and niggas be like, "But that Iron Flag," I'm like, "Yo, I don't even remember Iron Flag." Like, let's just stop. Everybody go their separate ways. I get it. Half y'all niggas wasted y'all money, and we gotta keep making albums because you guys got some kids. And everybody just stop with the Wu.
You guys need to go get a job.
I am the least wanting to hear another Wu album person alive. I'm sorry. Take back my hip hop pass. I'm good with them dudes, man.
Did y'all hear?
Don't forget about that gold album that was like in a museum.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear. I'm good with just the first album. I ain't even like the double album. I'm good.
Did y'all hear the single?
Yeah,
I haven't heard it.
It's dope.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
All right, enough on the Wu. With my people, I got Gangstar, Daily Operation, Hard to Earn, Moment of Truth. I got Outkast. I feel like Outkast is like EPMD. You can either go Southern, ATLiens, Aquemini. You could go ATLiens, Aquemini, Stankonia. But the one who takes the chip, I got to go with my man Pharoahe Monch, who is so slept on with his discography. I call him the Sade of hip-hop because they drop like every 5 years. I also feel like my man, and I don't even want to quote this dude, I think it's Little Bootsy or whoever that little Target dude is, but he says it on my man Chance the Rapper's album. Does anybody still care about cover art? I feel like cover art nowadays is the worst it's ever been, but I feel like this dude has always come with some ill covers. You got that cover, you got the Desire cover with this dude wrapped up like a mummy. You got this joint, the War album with the gas mask on, and you got the PTSD album right there. All ill album covers, all crazy albums. Dope. So I got to give it to my man Pharoahe Monch. I had to make sure he walked away with a belt for something. Dope show, y'all. I'm going to go on a 5-minute vent real quick. What's up, Brett?
It's Lil Yachty.
They all the same to me. It don't matter. Little somebody. Fill in the blank. Here's my thing. I'm on Facebook the other day. I go to Vegas's page. Vegas has something for Mass Appeal, the best hip-hop duos ever. I said, well, let me check this out because we've done a podcast on the dopest duos ever. Yeah. So I go on here, and number 20 is Black Star. So from the door, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm intrigued, but let me check this out because Black Star did only have out one album. Yeah, the problem became when I went down to number 17, and it was Crisscross. Okay? When that's where the problem came in. Now the other problem came in because I think it was like Black Star 20, Smith and Wesson 18, Crisscross 17. I'm just like, we got to stop because this is what's happening. I don't know. Somebody hit me like Mass Appeal got sold, so they got new own. I don't know what it is. We've got to, and my man Boston always calls me this. He calls me the gatekeepers. He'd be like, when you going to have one of your gatekeeper meetings, you keep people in and out of hip hop. We got to, because somebody is going to read that. Dog, really think about this. Somebody wrote, documented on paper that Crisscross is doper than Smith & Wesson and Black Star.
Black Star.
And they work. This isn't somebody's blog. If this was just somebody random blog, dog, that's your. This is Mass Appeal. That means, in my opinion, I've written for websites. I had to turn it into my editor. So I'm assuming somebody wrote this and then somebody higher up co-signed it. Like somebody didn't send this person. First of all, if you write for me and you tell me that, dog, you're fired. Get the fuck out. Like real talk. Like if you got Crisscross on your list, period, let's just cut this relationship right now. It's not going to work. But the fact that you keep the writer on, then the editor co-signs it, and then you actually post it. Like, dog, I actually got at Mass Appeal yesterday. Like, who writes for y'all? Fucking roaches? Like, wanting them to come back. I wanted a conversation with these dudes, but nobody even responded because it's almost like, dog, you got, like, we got to do something, y'all. And that's why I'm glad we got this podcast. I'm glad I got this dope group of people who can come up here and chop it up. I'm glad Vegas does what he does because there are too many people putting their hands in our culture, fucking it up. You know, and that's real talk. Like, yo, come on, Crisscross. And I mean, I don't know if that's Nas. I know Nas got Master P. I don't know if the label got anything to do with the website or whatever. But come on, y'all. We gotta get this shit under control. Cause come on. We just talking sideways now. You know, and I want to say that they had Birdman and Wayne ahead of Black Star and Cocoa Brothers. And then they had like some other little big time of dudes ahead of Birdman and Wayne. And I'm just like, I stopped that. Once I saw Birdman and Wayne, I just stopped. So I don't know who ended up with number one. I don't know if these niggas sit around and just throw names in a hat and they just pick them out. One of my peoples on Twitter was like, well, maybe they just do it to get views. And I really just think that they got a lot of young dudes up here who don't know the culture. And I always take it back to ESPN. You don't see anybody on air under 40. You don't. Nobody on air at ESPN with a microphone is under 40 because, to be honest, you don't know what you're fucking talking about half the time. The youngest you're going to find is Mike and Jamel. That's it. That's the youngest you are going to get on Mike because you've got to at least be able to go back and talk about 80s basketball. You can't do that intelligently. You know what I mean? And I forgot who I was talking to. My mom is a jazz musician. When I go to Philly, I sit down, I ask my mom, yo, how was it like when Stevie Wonder's in the song Key of Life came out? And then I shut the fuck up. I don't say anything. I just listen. I listen and I take notes. That's all I do. These young dudes, they ask you a question, then they want to debate with you halfway through your scenario. Just young dudes, just shut the fuck up and just listen. Because anybody who has Criss Cross on a list of the dopest hip-hop duos ever
should not be fucking talking.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. You should not. You obviously don't know what you're talking about. Master Pill has lost all
part-time hip-hop fans.
Anything. What's up, Jake?
I got to say, you got to understand the purpose, though. Your purpose, clearly, this is why I clicked with you immediately, is for the greater good.
Right.
It's always for the greater good, and it's always to preserve something that's so dope to you. And that's the same with me, and that's why we're here. Their primary purpose is to get clicks.
Yeah.
And we just spent X amount of time talking about it. Now everybody's going to go look for it. Do you know what I mean? So you got to look at purpose, man. Like, when lists started coming out not too long ago, if they didn't have my top 3 in the top 10, then I'm like, nah, forget it. And then I started getting mad, and it's like, well, that's their opinion. It's done. It's not found or anything, but their purpose is clicks, share. But our purpose is preserve. You know,
even in that case, though, the name though is going to get them clicks regardless.
And see, that's my thing. Because it started with when MTV used to do that big "Who are the top 10 MCs," and I would look around the table and I would see a bunch of young folk. And I always tell people, if you're doing anything with hip hop, label block, you got to have somebody my age there. You got to have a 40 or older cat in there to hold shit down and be a gatekeeper. Because if you don't have a gatekeeper, then shit like this gets out. So with MTV, it's like, I don't pay them no mind. VH1 doing a list, I don't pay. But Master Pill, that's why I clicked on it. I'm like, okay, well, Master Pill, I know has a name for being more hip hop. This isn't MTV. So I think that's what threw me. But that's what got me, because when I think of Master Pill or Ego Tripping or certain websites, I do think that we're one, that we're trying to preserve this culture. Obviously, like I said, my man said they got sold and whatever it is. But I agree with you, Jake. And more than anything throughout that whole rant, I want to take this time to thank y'all for chopping it up, because to the show, people are always saying Kill Dope Podcast. I always tell them I can't do a podcast without y'all. You know what I mean? So more than anything, I appreciate what y'all bring to the table. Just today, Jake, your first time, you done put me on to a new MC I need to check out, you know, and everybody plays their part. So all of that to just say out of that rant, fuck these people who don't know nothing about hip hop and who are getting, you know, I mean, I don't, and I'm not hating, you know, but I'm just like, yo, how did you get a job writing for Master Pill? And maybe they do it for free. Cause I'll be honest with you, cats be coming at me to write for them. I'm like Pooba. My favorite Grand Pooba quote is, if the show ain't for dough, then you won't see the bro. I've been in this game too long to be writing for nobody for free. I ain't just get out of college. I ain't trying to pad my resume. You want me to write for you because you're going to get dope content, but you have to pay me. So again, all that's my little rant for the night. Brett, give them all the information, where they can get at you. You're dry in Houston now. I'm glad you're safe. Let them know where they can check you out, bro.
Hey, good rant, man. I love it. Twitter at DJ Rec1. SoundCloud is JRec1. IG is Worldwide Rec1. And that's what it is.
Nice, no doubt, no doubt. Jake, let them know where they can get at you, fam.
Twitter, Instagram, best ways to get me is at Jake_cuts_fresh.
And let them know about the barbershop too up in Boston, man.
Oh yeah, I got I'm in the suburbs of Boston. I got a barbershop called the Chop Shop. I just hired my 7th barber today, man. We really have been taking off this year, man. I'm blessed. I my purpose in life is to bridge gaps between people and cultures, and also to help men become their best. And that's what I do every day from behind the chair. And also, if you go to any of my social media, it's all motivational stuff or information on relationships. So that's what I'm all about.
All right, no doubt. Jace, give them all your info, bro.
Well, but before, real quick, man, your new nickname is Uncle Roger. You Uncle Roger Mayweather. Motherfuckers don't shit about boxing. Okay. Don't shit about hip hop. You are Uncle Roger.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take Uncle Roger, man. That's a good nickname.
On Twitter, it's at JERIKTYLER, and on IG, it's JTyler0801. Thank you for the platform, bro.
Always, bro. And Vay, give them all your stuff, good brother.
All right, you can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC, that being Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I don't got no dog shit all over my face, none of that. Grown man. I also have a podcast called Hip Hop Now Podcast. You can get to that on your mobile device, or you can go to SoundCloud.com/Hip Hop Now Podcast.
All right, no doubt, no doubt.
I be doing jazz on the weekends.
I see, man. So what's the jazz show about?
Well, it's not my show. I was just filling in, but you better believe there was a lot of hip hop samples being played.
All right, no doubt. And where can they check that out at?
WBGO.org.
All right, no doubt. And y'all already know this with me, Kill889. We'll make beats for food.com. I'll check y'all next week, man. Thanks for sitting in, man.
Peace, fellas.
Peace.
All right, thanks, guys.